it still has a lot of good messages in it, and talks about like how reincarnation, like you can be like when you die, you can go into another life. So if you believe in that, you know, it can make a lot of things easier to think. Like it can ease the fear of death sometimes, because people are so scared of death and losing other people when it's sometimes unnecessary. Like I mean, it's not like hope. Right, you know what I'm saying? Like you worry about that when you could
that's a major fear.
Just not be worrying about that, because whether you worry about it or not doesn't change if it's actually gonna happen or not.
Whether you worry about it or not doesn't gonna change if it's gonna happen or not. Boom! I'm gonna quote him on that one.
Cool.
I love it. So the title says, number one tip to turn your kid into a millionaire one day, maybe faster than you realize, is to work on developing the expansion of their mind. Right? So I want everybody to be as flexible in their thinking. You've heard me say that type of flexible brain, flexible body, flexible thinking. So this is my son, and something I offered to him this summer, you know, a couple months ago, was saying, hey, I have a way you can make some money. So he's 13, now 13 and a half, right? Focus.
Yeah,
okay.
Sorry, they're distracted.
Yeah, okay. We're outside, there'll be a lot of cars going by. Was, you know, he can't have a job yet, and there's a lot of stuff that I do. He can't quite work for me or his dad quite yet. Next summer, we plan on, he's got a lot of things he's going to be doing. But I said, here's the thing. I'm not worried about his math, his reading, his history, his geography, whatever a school is going to handle. I want to continue to develop his thinking in terms of multiple ways of seeing things, points of views. Oh, there's a cousin. So I said, you know, he's a really good reader and he likes to read. So I knew this wasn't something that was going to be hard. He likes a certain genre. What's the favorite stuff you like to read?
I only read like fiction, fantasy fiction books.
What are some of the favorite books you like that bring pleasure?
My favorite books I read was Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, and then Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Two favorites. Harry Potter, like that
series, yeah.
And just like a bunch of other like ones.
Okay. Awesome. So he loves that type of stuff, and he reads really at a college level at this point. So he gets stuff, and he likes to do it. He can get lost in it, and sometimes we're like, put down the book.
Court of Thorns and Roses.
Read it louder. Read loud. I mean, speak louder.
Okay, fine. I'll just read.
Those are 18 plus books. He wants
that's what they're recommended.
To brag on himself. So if he goes, you have to speak louder.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay. I just want to make sure they hear you.
All right, sorry.
We don't
louder
have mics
now.
on. All right. So I said, here's the thing. As part of what you can do for me, like homework, like chores, like to make money, I'll give you $20 a book to read books of my choice.
So like self-help books. So like Big Magic. Get that in frame. Yeah, Big Magic. They're like self-help books, and many
personal
development books, stuff like just like real world kind of like books to help be successful and create a better mind and all that stuff.
This is how I'm going to help him master his mind, his relationships. So
can I start out with this one?
So I asked him, he said great, and I said $20 a book, and I said I would max out. You have to, you guys want to try this experiment. So when I said that, what did you think of that idea?
I was like, that is a great idea. That's a very good incentive to read the books, and two, it'd be fun just to read the books to help myself out, and two, that's money, so you know.
Right, win-win. It's something he likes and he's good at. I picked something I know he likes and he's good at. I picked out a stack of books, and I said, you can kind of choose the order, and you'll see just real fast. I want to show you. There's drastic differences in sizes and how long some of these books will take. I told them that's not what matters to me.
And the thing is the smallest one is definitely, in my opinion, the best. It's way better.
Right. So I have a whole stack of things that I took off of my shelf, off my library, that I've read and highlighted and loved and given or whatever. Some are really old. Some are a little bit intellectually, like I know I'm pushing him, but that's okay. He doesn't have to understand everything. I have a few that are on the edge that have a lot of swear words that I don't know if I'm going to let him read yet. Some of my favorite ones that we're going to gauge it, but I have a whole bunch that I'm like, you can pick. And my pace was, you can read up to one a week. Like I can pay you $20 a week to read a book. So you kind of gauge it based on your summer, what you would like to do. So he picked first
Big Magic.
So
because my mom talks about this all the time.
I love this book. So Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Pray, Love, Fame and then Committed, which I think is better. Then she came out with this book. I even gave it to his 2 teachers a couple of years ago. I was like, please read this book. I think all kids should be taken to this book. But Bennett has some interesting opinions or reviews. He liked it, but give your book review on this book. Like, give it to 13 or 14-year-olds to read. What do you think?
This book, it's good. I like it. Out of the books I've read so far, it's definitely my least favorite. Like, I would read it again. Like, if I was given the chance to read it, I would read it again. But it's not something that I'll look back on and be like, I really want to read this book. You know, it's not something that I'm going to look back on and be like, this is like a life-changing book for me or something like that. Like, some of the other books actually do that.
Can you tell him one idea in here? Because what would happen, he would read, and just as the pacing felt natural, and he would kind of just verbally tell me stuff about it. I didn't make him write stuff.
Live a creatively inspired life, and not to, like, not do some of your passions. Like, if you have certain passions that you want to do, it doesn't mean you have to quit your job or completely, like, just do other things and make a big deal out of it to pursue your passions. You can just pursue your passions other ways. And if you want to make whatever that passion is your full-time job, you totally can do that, but it doesn't mean you have to. Like, there was just one story about this old woman who, one of her main things that made her happy was figure skating. And she hadn't done it in like 20, 30 years. And one day she was just like, wasn't it like that?
Something like
she
that,
wanted
yeah.
to go. She wanted to do figure skating.
She felt her life kind of low and
she
passionless.
felt life low and passionless.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that she remembered when she was young was really important to her, and she loved doing, but she stopped doing it. Now she had like a steady, stable, good 9-to-5 job that she works. So she wasn't just gonna blow off her job all the time to do it. So she decided to do it. She woke up at like 5 or 6 in the morning and went to the rink for a couple hours each morning, and it just made her feel much better. It made her life better. It just made her feel, you know, more inspired and more happy. And so it just teaches you, don't like let other people or like things to like stop you from doing what you truly enjoy. And if you want to do something like let's say you want to be like an actual like writer, an artist, you have to take the bad stuff that comes with it, you know.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. It was a shit sandwich,
Yeah,
she
that's
called
what
it.
she
So she's not gonna say that word, but I'll say it. And so there's like, we all have shit sandwiches in whatever career we do.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of you just deciding which ones are you willing to eat or not eat, because
Yeah.
everything has some
and you shouldn't have someone
uncomfortable parts.
let other people decide it for you. Like, you
Yeah,
shouldn't
it's a lot of that
have
kind
other
of stuff
people
about
your permission to.
living a creative life and how creativity has a magical quality to it, and she embodies it with like a personality. It was kind of cool. So we told you one cool little story.
It's definitely good. Like, I would definitely recommend it to certain
Do you think
people.
it would be better for people's moms than for the kid?
No,
You think kids are? Because you gave it to your teacher, she loved it. The teacher took it and read it, right? Did she
Yeah.
borrow this one?
I feel like it would be better for more adult people, because I feel like kids don't have as much issue with it.
Might be more for the kids. All right.
Adults.
Then the adults. I'm sorry. Then I said you can pick. You went off to camp and you had a couple choices, and so I told him about this book.
Many Lives, Many Masters. Super good. It's a really good book.
So
I
Many
love
Lives, Many
this.
Masters. Brian Weiss, MD. So it's about. Tell him what it's about. So I told him briefly what it was about, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I want to take that one," and he loved it. So go ahead and.
Right, so this
Tell
is
them
one of
about
the
that.
coolest books I've ever read. Like, not even in the nonfiction genre. It's just like, even within fiction, it's still an awesome book. Like, if you consider all the other books I've read, it's a great book. So I would totally recommend this to anybody, even if they don't like this type of book, and anybody who didn't even need the self-help part of it, and just to read it because it's a fascinating story, but also because it's a fascinating story and because it has a lot of good messages in it and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it talks about this psychiatrist and this patient, and they went into past life therapy through hypnosis one time, because he said, take me to the past part where your problem started, and it was recounting past lives. And so whether it's true or not, which personally I think it definitely could be true, and I think it is true probably, but it still has a lot of good messages in it, and it talks about like how reincarnation, like you can be like when you die, you can go into another life. So if you believe in that, you know, it can make a lot of things easier to think. Like, it can ease the fear of death sometimes, because people are so scared of death and losing other people when
And
it's sometimes
sadness
unnecessary.
maybe
Like,
some
I mean, it's
grief
not
and
like
hope
right,
and-
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you worry about that when you could
That's a
just,
major
shouldn't
fear.
just not be worrying about
Yeah.
that, because whether you worry about it or not, it doesn't change if it's actually gonna happen or not.
Whether you worry about it or not doesn't gonna change if it's gonna happen or not. Boom! I'm gonna quote him on that one.
Cool.
I love it. So he liked this, but actually he's even said more, like how much he just liked it as a story, and it was a different story outside of his normal genre.
Oh yeah.
So part of it is I wanted to get him out of his genre. I wanted him to have a little bit of experience, but him being motivated by, well, hey, I'm getting $20 to do something I enjoy and I find easy. So then he this one, and I'm stunned that how much he's likes this book, you guys.
Okay, so this book is so good. Wait, wrong side. So good. Wait, well, yeah,
right there.
Game of Life and How to Play It. That's in small letters. It's
Say the name, Florence.
Florence Scovel Shin.
Yep.
It's really good.
Old book.
Is it old? How old is it?
I don't know. It's pretty old.
Okay, well, it's super good. It's super
He
religious
loves this
and
book.
like
I mean,
Christian.
I have highlights throughout it.
It's super religious and like very Christian, very
lots of
God-based,
Christian
and Jesus
bases
Christ,
and
and so many Bible verses.
Bible quotes. Yep.
And I'm personally not Christian, but it's totally fine because you can still just like take the actual message from that.
So he's raised in a secular home with a lot of spirituality and lots of different concepts. But
for people who are into that thing, it made me.
He loved it. I loved it.
It talks about kind of how the messages through words, your messages and your thoughts create an output into the universe that kind of attracts whatever you're attracting to yourself. So if you're even with minor things and with big
because of the
sorry,
we had a mail
even with
coming.
minor things and with like big things, it works for both ways. Like let's say you're always saying like, "Oh, I'm always late for work. I can never get anywhere on time. Blah blah blah. Blah. My car always is." You're attracting that into the universe. Even if it has been true a couple of times, you're still attracting the fact that you're always late. You're still attracting the fact that
you're creating it.
Creating
right?
it. So you're creating it by spoken words and thinking it. Versus if I was just like, oh, I'm always on time. I can totally get there. You know, oh, my car won't break down. Blah blah blah.
So
it kind of attracts that to happen.
Yes. So can you change your
how it
reality?
attracts. Like I used to, whether this is part of it or not. I still do this, but when I fly up to Chicago for my mouth thing, I have a mouth appliance thing. Every time I go, I'm always like, we're always the last terminal, and literally every time we have been the last terminal. There's not one time where we have had to walk to the whole other side of the airport to get the last terminal. But ever since the first time, I was always been like, oh, we're 100% getting the last terminal. Like I say that throughout the whole trip, we're always getting the last terminal. So I'm attracting, we're always getting the last terminal, because every time we get the last terminal.
I'm gonna cry right now.
But if you start attracting, you know, I'm not gonna get there's chances increase if you're not doing it, and it can be with much bigger things. That's like a very like not important example. That's not something that's like life changing or anything. But
it's the energy.
It can be with like, you know, if you're always saying, oh,
what's something you might want to start practicing?
Money.
Oh, what is the statement so he has stocks now. He has real stocks. We're letting him invest. So what is something you want to say or feel about? I'm working on that one too.
Not even about that though, about like you know,
tell me.
Not even about stocks, but just about like I'm scarcity.
So what could you say? There's always enough money for me.
There's always enough money, blah blah blah. I always have like a very scarcity around money and things. It's gotten way better since I've been young.
He would like kind of hide the money in the pockets or hide things.
I hoard it. I hoard money, and I don't ever spend it on things I actually want to spend it on.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm never going to get it back.
So
and I've always put out the message.
So you're going to start to try to work on
Yeah, I've always put out the message that I'm never going to have money. I don't have any money. I don't know how I'll ever get any money. I literally have put that out my whole life. And so I don't usually get much money. The money doesn't really come in to me.
Yeah,
I don't feel like I ever have much money.
And every time he asks for an allowance, we don't give it to him and stuff. And there's always like some kind of reasons.
But
now
I always put that out. So if you put out like, you know, and part of it is that like, if you act a certain way, sometimes it influences. Like let's say like you're poor or something, and you want to be more. If you act or just have the mindset and act like somebody who has a lot of money, it can increase your chances.
Absolutely. So now, extrapolating that, when I was redoing the outside of our home, and I put quite a bit of money for me into doing it. I live a very modest life. We live a nice, comfortable life, but we're modest and comfortable. Yeah. We're not fancy. He didn't understand.
Besides in our meat.
He said, we spent a lot of money on meat. He said, You don't need to paint. Like, it doesn't need to
I
be
didn't
done.
think it was necessary.
You didn't think anything needed to be done. Because our house is great. I'm like, no, and the house is great.
It was good. It was not nearly this good.
After I did it,
I was like, oh my god, this makes such a big. It changes your mindset, and
it changed how I feel. I told him.
It makes you want to.
I needed to feel wealthier,
Right.
and so I had to change my thinking, and I had to
you want
change
to
my environment.
Continue to grow that wealth and grow your
Yes,
happiness,
and
it
attract
makes
more.
you want to keep it looking like
Keep
that.
it
So
looking
keep
nice.
wanting to-
We just redid his bedroom and bought all things and changed his whole energy in there. So,
but it's just so good.
He loved
I
this
just
book.
love this book. I think it really.
So
helps.
that's a
I've been using a lot of that, and half the
I
time
may have to
it's
buy
been
you your
working a lot
own.
of the time.
So then the second book to go to that, like the sequel.
And you have to actually believe it, though. Like, you can't. You have to make yourself believe it. If you're just
That's
like,
true.
oh, that's bull crap.
Yeah,
I mean,
the
if you say like, and you can use it on just things like, you know, wealth and happiness and like finding like, you know, get married or finding your love.
She has
or
lots of
whatever, stuff
it's like
that.
love. She breaks it down into different categories: career, love, family, whatever. Then this is the
And you just
second
repeat
book.
sayings about it.
And then
you
this
just
will
think
have you
positive.
how far your word is your wand. She gives you another whole book of specific affirmations you can do. So he's just reading through this.
Yeah, I'm just
Just starting
one.
this. And so what it does is he can pick things, say, oh, this one's great, and put it on a note card or a post-it,
Yeah.
and play around with it. I mean, there's so much. Right here, you open to debt and sales. and
Yeah, like
affirmations.
right here, the affirmation is, I deny debt. There is no debt in divine mind. Therefore, I owe no man anything. All obligations are now wiped out under grace in a miraculous way. And then like there's more affirmations, and then it has like a little thing above it that talks about it.
They
like,
gotta put it in the camera so they can see it.
it talks about like it shows the affirmations, and then it shows like talks about it. I don't know.
Then the next one he's going to read. Did you even
I
start?
started this. I started like halfway through this. It's like a cool story. I started this like years ago, and then for some reason
I
stopped
can't get
it.
him to. It's okay. It happens. Everybody resists this book.
Why?
The Greatest Salesman in the World. It's so powerful. I probably read it 20 times. So I pay coaches to make me read this and talk about it. Like, this book is used all over the place. So this is the kind of stuff. I have a whole other stack. So anyway, we'll do little book reviews if you're cool with that. So is there anything you think parents should maybe offer this to some kids as an
Yes,
idea?
I definitely think they should. And
Talk to the camera.
Ma, you should also offer like a list of recommended books.
I'm going to offer. I took a picture.
But I definitely think it's worth it.
But I want to
the
hear
kid-
your reviews.
The kid also has to like, if the kid does it, they should have to recount like what they learned to it. They
Yes,
should have to.
he
do it.
talks to me.
And it only like if
I make it be
you
easy.
feel that your kid is gonna actually think about it and like take it and use some of that knowledge and not just be like, okay, here's my money, bye, I don't care. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, right.
You know,
Some good
I feel like
active
a lot of kids, even kids I know, would just like read the book and be like, I don't care, this is BS, and whatever.
Yeah, maybe they should only get $5.
Well, it
Sometimes
depends.
even reading the ads and you think it's BS, it goes in there. I'm brainwashing you. I'm trying, right?
But like, you know, you
That's
should,
okay.
you should see how
I
they
know what I'm
react
doing.
and how they do it in the first.
Okay,
couple
he suggests you see how they act, maybe do it as a trial period.
Yeah.
See how it works. And again, I gave him choices. I didn't have to buy any of these books. I have tons of them. I mentioned it to his dad. You know, he's in a 2-home family, and I said, you know, Peter.
My dad said he's gonna do it.
Yeah, I said, you know,
books
he's
alone,
got
yes,
books because again, he's you know, 20 years older than me, and a man has a different perspective. So what I might pull up to say, oh, this was so powerful, one of my favorite books ever. I want you to read this book. And some of it is, there's some of my favorite books. There's some of the things that were impactful for me, some at 20 years old, some at 30, some at 40, right? So I don't expect it to have the same, but I think it's cool that he's reading some of these now, and he'll read some of them again in 10 years or 20 years and read it and go, wow, I remember my mom, I read that when I was 13, and they'll be reading it in college or off on some adventure in the Tibetan mountains or something crazy that he's going to be doing. So that's what's going on. So that's Bennett's book reviews.
Yes.
We'll come back with some more when he gets through some
Everybody
more.
should read this book.
The Game of Life. He really loves it. It's an easy read. I sent this to my whole, I think Grandma has
It's
it.
even like, it's
How many pages?
93 pages.
93 pages,
It's not
so
even
easy.
hard.
Versus this one was over 200. I mean, it took
It
them
was like
250.
300. No, this was like 340.
250.
No, it's 340.
Let's see.
It's 300. 272.
272. Okay, wait, 340. You're close. I
Yeah,
appreciate
that
it,
was
Bennett.
quite off.
Say thank you. If you
Thanks,
guys
bye.
want any more information, you could send me a message. What should we give them? I usually give people something.
Keep getting out of the frame.
Yeah, I usually give them something. I got nothing to give. Join my 90-day group. That's the tip. Send me a message or drop something in. I'm going to send you to my group. Get on my email list, actually, so you can learn about when I'm taking new patients. And do you need to go eat some meat? You want me to heat you up some
Yes, I'm
meat?
hungry.
So we're going to heat up some meat, and we're going to go eat. And that's it. Don't leave the camera. Don't leave it yet. Bye, guys. Thanks
Bye.
for joining us.